Hi, and welcome everyone to another AHA tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about how to build beautiful product reports. And as someone who used to spend a lot of time updating reports in spreadsheets and PowerPoint, I get really excited about reporting in AHA because once you've entered your data, you can quickly create interactive visualizations like the ones you see here. And then they just always stay up to date. And reporting is useful for anyone using AHA. I even have a dashboard full of reports to measure the performance of our live tutorial program that you're all taking part in now. And we'll focus on a product management example today. So I've set up demo data for a portfolio of 3 products in our Fredwin Cycling account so we can see how to report on all of that activity. Typically, we'll do this at a few different levels of detail. So we'll start with a strategic look at how we're doing against our goals and initiatives. Then we'll take a closer look at the release progress to make sure our plans are on track, as well as measure performance by the number of features we've shipped. I also want this tutorial to really give you a sense of the different visualizations that are possible in AHA and how to go about creating them. So I asked our own team of experts in customer success that are all former product managers and business analysts to weigh in with their own go-to reports they love suggesting to customers. And together we came up with the 3 views that you see here for today. So first, we'll create a custom roadmap to pinpoint progress against our strategic initiatives. Second, we'll review the status of major releases across our portfolio in a pivot table. And third, we'll take a look at monthly feature delivery using our recently improved charts. And then for each report we build, we will follow these 3 F's here. So format, fields, and filters. And these are going to be super handy to keep in mind as we go along here and as you build your own reports in AHA. So format is the record and report type that you start with. So what is the essential purpose of the report? Fields are the particulars of what actually goes into the report, so those additional data points you want to include. And then filters are how you will show the exact data that you want, so filtering by things like status and time frame. And I'll remind you again of how these apply as we go through each of our 3 reports. And the logical order of these 3 F's will be really clear once we start using the report builder. Now let's start building our reports using those 3 F's. So what you see on your screen right here is the reports overview. And I got here from this overview option right under the roadmaps tab. This is the best page I could really think of to give you a sense of how vast reporting can be in AHA. You can see all of my recently viewed and saved reports are here. I can organize them with folders, and let's actually make a quick folder while we're here to put our reports in today. I'll call this 2021 Progress and create that. And you can see that shows up here. All right, so talking about possibilities, you can report on every different record type and more than 200 fields. Honestly, the main challenge is figuring out what you want to show, as the possibilities really are endless. And that's why we have this example report section here. So let's click into here, and I'm guessing many of you have explored this. If not, definitely check it out. This is a really good place to get familiar with your different options for reporting. So we have more than 75 of these pre-built templates based on the most popular reports that product managers need. You can see a bunch of different record types from your high-level goals and initiatives down to your features and even to-dos. And then we have the different report types available as well. Now, I wanted to show you that all you have to do is click on one of these example reports and it will automatically populate your own data into that view. It's pretty cool if you haven't seen it before. Then you can adjust it from there to look exactly how you want. So let's actually give that a try with our first report. And remember our 3 F's, format, fields, and filters. Those definitely apply to example reports too. So let's take a look. Starting with format, I want my first report view to show my initiative's progress. And I'm going to choose a custom roadmap for this view, so we have a lot of flexibility to group our initiatives data. Now, of course, there are other roadmap templates built into AHA. You have your strategy, your features roadmaps up here, but it's really useful to get acquainted with the custom roadmap since it gives you flexibility to create a view that fits your exact use case. Okay, so we have our different example report options in this custom roadmap report type section. This one in the middle has initiatives with some additional fields. So there's our second F fields. We have workspace and goal here. So I think that will be a nice way to view how my initiatives ladder up to my goals within a particular product. So I'm going to choose this one. And there we go. There's our roadmap. And now for that last step, filters. This already happens to be showing just 2021 dates because I set up the demo data. But if it was not, or maybe I just wanted to look at the second half of 2021, I could certainly add a filter here for a specific time frame to narrow it down. Now, this is a pretty nice view as it is. I always think it's interesting to take a look at this change view type drop down. So here we can see what the other kind of primary view type options are. So we can check out what this roadmap looks like in a list view. Okay, pretty simple. Or in a pivot, or even in a chart, which has some nice colors, but not exactly what we're trying to do here today. So let's go back to that roadmap view. This is also a nice way to confirm that you picked the best report for the job. And I think we really did here. So a couple more points on customizing this. If I go into this gear icon up here and select Edit Data, this will drop me right into my configuration options for adding fields to my custom roadmap. And I can actually think of a couple different fields that I'd like to add here to give this a little more color. So I have an opportunity, custom field, opportunity amount on here. And then I also think I'd like to show goal progress to really make it clear how we're progressing. One more thing up here I wanted to show you is you see this sort fields option here. Let's actually sort by that opportunity amount too. So we can drag that and sort 9 to 1, done, and save. So now the impact of the initiatives my team is focused on is really clear. We have the opportunity amount sorted from smallest to largest, and we're also showing that progress bar on goals. A couple more things we can do with this one under customize style. I think it'd be nice to show progress on the initiative level as well. So we can check this show progress box up here. And then let's see how this looks with the text inside. Sometimes that can be a cleaner look. And then for color by, it would be nice to show the goals that these initiatives ladder up to really clearly. So let's color by goal name since I know we have that set up. And it gives you a nice little preview of that will look like here. And let's click done for the big reveal. Nice. So now we can see how we're progressing against each of our initiatives within our 2021 Fredwin cycling goals. We could even add our additional workspaces, Fredwin running and Fredwin swimming up here if we wanted this report to include our entire portfolio, which we'll get into more of when we build our next two reports. So this would be a great view to review your progress with your leadership team. It's high level, but it's also interactive. So if there's a goal or initiative that you want to take a closer look at, you can open that up here and see what's contributing to it and see if you need to intervene anywhere. Maybe you need to adjust the duration of an initiative or decide that once the related work ships, if we're close enough to the opportunity amount, it's good enough to mark achieved. Okay, I think we're set with this view. So one report, well, really a roadmap down, two reports to go. We'll do release status next. Now, there are a few different places in AHA to view releases. So of course you have your Gantt chart here, and then your features board, but we want a higher level view to visualize the status of major releases across our portfolio. And given we're in the middle of the year, it's a good time to look back at what we've released so far in 2021 and look ahead at what we want to accomplish in the second half. So let's build that report. And this time we'll go straight into the report builder, which I can actually just do right over this report I built. But before I do that, let me save my work here real quick, since that took a bit of adjusting and I'm happy with how it turned out. So I'll call this 2021 initiatives there. I'll share it internally with the Fredwin Cycling team. I'll put it in that new 2021 progress folder we just made. And then for editing permissions, here I can choose if I want to give people edit access, which sure, I will for this one. Great, and then hit save, and we have our report all saved there. Okay, so now that that's saved, we can continue with our second releases report. So, fun thing that you might be aware of, but in case not, if you go up to this plus sign in the upper right-hand corner of AHA, you'll get this drop-down of options, and at the very bottom, you'll see Report. And this actually opens up the report builder directly over any view that you happen to be on. So you don't even have to click back into that reports overview to create your report. So now that we have our report builder open, we can go through our 3 F's from here. So format, fields, and filters. Okay, so format first. I know I want to report on releases, but maybe I'm not exactly sure how yet. So let's start with that record. So I can do releases here. It's under popular. And then I have these different options. So I'll do releases with workspaces since I want to report on multiple products in my portfolio, and then click next. And now the report builder is going to suggest some example reports for me based on my record type choice. So here are some different ways I could visualize my releases with workspaces. And I really like the way the preview of this pivot table, workspace releases by quarter, looks, so I'm going to pick that one. I'll hit create report. All right, there it is. So a little light on the information, but I think we have a pretty good format going here. So our first F is down, and then I actually think I have most of the fields that I'm going to want here, my second F. So I have my workspaces, I have my release quarters, and my release names. But let's spend a little more time on that third F, filters, to really get this one looking the way we want it. And one of the first things I'm seeing kind of pop out to me is that I'm going to want to remove that architecture workspace. I don't want that as part of my Fredwin portfolio report. So I have 2 options for filtering here. I can add filters in line like I showed last time using this plus sign, or I can go back into the report builder and into the filter step option. And let's do that second option since I think it'll be nice to see how all of our data comes together here. So back to the gear icon, edit data, and then it pops up the report builder in the field step. So if I wanted to add more field information here, this is where I would do that. And actually, I think it could be helpful to show the release date on here. I think my audience would like a little more specific information. So I'll include that there. And then note that if you were building a pivot table from scratch instead of the example report like I did, this is where you would arrange your data. So it's really nice to have this set up so you can choose exactly what you're putting in your rows and columns and your cells. But we're done with our field step now, so let's move on to filters. And you'll see that you can toggle between these basic and advanced filter radials. I'm going to stick with basic filters for today, but advanced is useful if you need to use this all, any, or none logic on your filters. Okay, so I said I wanted to filter out that architecture workspace. So I'm going to add a workspace name filter on here. And I can pre-select the Fredwin workspaces I want to include right there. And this view is great if I only want to see the releases that are in development now or upcoming, but say I also want to pull in shipped releases to look back at what we've accomplished. I can click this release settings drop-down, which is automatically part of reports with release records, and select this shipped releases box. Okay, we've chosen the right report format here. We included the right fields. We just added our filters. Let's hit save. So that filled in our pivot table. Now we can see everything the team accomplished in the first half has planned for the second. But let's spruce up this view a bit more. So first off, I can actually just drag these columns so they're a little wider to make space for some of those longer release names. And then let's also customize the style. So back to the gear icon, customize style. And right now we're in this default gray theme. And we can go into this theme drop down here and take a look at our other options. So the blue theme adds a nice pop of color. You can see that in the preview here. And I actually use this powder one quite a bit too. But because this is our reporting tutorial, let's do something a little more special here. Let's do custom colors. All right, so you have this handy custom theme colors guide here, essentially. And looking at this, I'm also realizing we don't need a column header for release quarter. We know what these quarters are, so I'm going to uncheck that box. And now let's experiment with changing our row and column header backgrounds. So I just click on that gray box here. It pops up the color picker. I'll choose this nice navy blue. And then you'll see it populate. So, it's easy if you accidentally click the wrong thing, it'll tell you down here in the preview. And then I'll do the column header background as well. Okay, nice. So one other thing on here, since that's a pretty dark background color, I'm going to change my column header text to white to make this legible for people. Okay, and then under color by, I actually like that it's colored by release status. This is going to make it really clear what's shipped and what's in progress now. So that part is set, and let's click done. Okay, that really spiffed things up nicely. And because this is a pivot table, we can also have it do some math for us. So if we go back up to edit data here, we can have it add a summary of the count. So then we can see the totals for each quarter and each workspace. And we could even switch it to show just the totals and averages, though I like having those unique release names listed out. So I'll keep this one as is. Okay, great. So this is a great view for taking a deeper dive into status in a cross-functional team meeting. You can review how many releases you're totaling per quarter and for each workspace. And you can pull an individual release up to look at the related work contributing to that status. And we covered our saved view options in that last report. We can put this in our 2021 progress folder. All right, so now we've created a couple great visualizations. First, we looked at initiative progress and then at release status across our portfolio. And we are going to end with a chart of features shipped each month. So you can see how to report on your team's velocity, as well as get to know the new charting functionality in AHA if you haven't already. Okay, so remember how to open the report builder? You can go to this plus option here, or you can go back to the reports overview. Both paths will open up the exact same thing. So here is our report builder. And for our first step, format, here I could choose features under record type, since we're going to build our features chart, or I could choose chart under report layout. Either way works, and hopefully these options are starting to feel a little more familiar to you now if this was new to you. So let's choose a chart here and click next. Now it'll give me a few example reports again, and I see this features by quarter chart here. I wanted to do features shipped by month, so that's pretty similar. I could choose this example report and then adjust it to show months instead of quarters. But we've done a couple example reports today already, so let's go boldly and create our own chart from scratch. So it'll prompt me to select my record type. I know it's on a features chart. I know I want to choose that. So let's see what happens when I do features only. Okay, so there is my chart preview. I know on this y-axis that I want to tally up the number of features shipped for each workspace. So I'll just do a count of feature name. for that. And then on the x-axis, I'd like to add release month. It's not showing up here because it's not in my record hierarchy. Now, I chose that features record type only on purpose in our field step, so I could show you how easy it is to add that release record in after the fact. So all I have to do is add releases here. And now I'm saying that I want to look at features as my primary record type and the releases that those features are part of. So now that I've added releases, let's try typing in release month again. And now it shows up for us. And for the series, I want to do workspace names. So same thing. I'll connect my workspace in the record hierarchy, add that there. And now my workspace name will show up there. Okay, great. Now that we have those fields, our second step, let's actually briefly go back to format before we move on to the filters. So on this chart drop down here, I can see all my different options and change to a different type. And let's do a stacked bar chart here to really visualize the number of features shipped for each workspace. And it gives me a nice preview of what that'll look like here too when it changes. Okay, and our third step, filters, is next. So a couple different things I want to do here. I want to look at all 3 Fredwin products in our portfolio. So I'm going to check running and swimming in addition to cycling. One thing to note too that I did want to point out at some point is that because we started in our Fredwin cycling workspace, it'll default to that for our reports, but then we can add on different workspace names as we build them out. And I also want to see only shipped features. So let's add another filter for feature status. I'll add that. And then I'll change it to shipped. You can see a couple different workflows on here. This is actually important to note. This is where it's important to have consistency if you're reporting on multiple workspaces in the same report. So I know that our team was just playing around with some data, so I'm going to pull in both ship statuses there, but that's something to keep an eye on. And then lastly, I want to filter for only releases this year. So I'll do release and then date and add that. Now, something to note on here, you could plug in your exact between dates here, but I like using this custom option when I'm looking at an entire year. Then I get this drop down. I can do this year, click update, and then let's create a report and see what that looks like. Okay, so this one turned out pretty nice right off the bat. Our colors are already based on our workspace colors, which match our branding. So that's a nice way to have consistency in our reporting. And now we can really visualize the team's production and see how much they're capable of shipping on a monthly basis and compare that for the different products in our portfolio. And as I had mentioned, these are new charts. So the option to see what a classic view looks like is still here for a bit longer. So if we switch to our classic chart here, you can really see the difference. So in that new view, we had all those nice configuration options. So I'm going to stick in that new view, go to update chart here to go back to that. Okay, so a couple things I can do in the configuration section. I can switch this to vertical, which I think I prefer to look at the consecutive months. And then I can also update the title if I want to give it something a little more simple, say just features shipped by month, be a little bit nicer. Okay, so I'm happy with the way this view turned out. Let's save it. I'll call it 2021 features shipped and go ahead and save. All right, so I also have a few different sharing options here. If I go to this arrow icon that I wanted to point out, so this would be a great view to include in a product presentation, maybe even in a dashboard for the team. Or if I just want to share this single view, I can generate a secure web page and then have a link that I can share out. Okay, we finished building our 3 reports and we're almost done here. I just wanted to show you a couple of the ways you can share this reporting goodness with others in your organization. So I'll go back to my overview page. And first, I wanted to show you what that custom roadmap we built could look like in a presentation. So I actually favorited this example roadmap presentation here. And then if we open that up, I have the roadmap that we just built as the first slide here. Looks pretty good there, right? And then I also want to show you an example of a dashboard. So back to our favorites. And I put this one together ahead of time for you. So I'll open this up, and it has some of the exact reports as dashboard panels that we built today. And you could share this with your team so everyone can see all your product KPIs in a single view. Okay, I hope today's tutorial inspired you for the many possibilities of reports you can start creating in AHA. Always feel free to contact our customer success team at support@aha.io if you have questions as you go along here. They will respond to you super fast. Thanks, everyone, and take care.